Hey folks, AJ the CEO here, and we are getting ready to check out another PTZ camera. This one is by BZB Gear. We're going to open it up, see what's inside, put it through its paces, and see, is it worth your money? So let's go. Hey folks, AJ the CEO here. If this is your first time stopping by the channel, thanks for stopping by. And on this channel, we focus on tips, training, strategies, reviews, and builds to help modernize your media ministry. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. And if you like what we're doing here, consider becoming a patron or a YouTube member by clicking one of the links down below. I continually try to give some more benefits and features to the people who help make this channel possible. So again, thank you, patrons, and thank you, YouTube members. So we got another PTZ camera. BZB Gear hit me up and said, hey, would you like to check out one of our cameras? I said, sure. So in full disclosure, they sent me this. They're not paying for this review, but I guess giving me the camera is paying for it. But anyway, they're gonna be seeing the review the same time you are. I am not paid to say anything positive or whatever and to lean in their direction. I'm just going to give you a full candid opinion of this product, and there will be a link down below if you are interested in getting one, and let me know if you have any other questions that I may not have covered and that you want some answers while we're kicking the paces with this thing. So let's go over and do a sped up unboxing, because I get a lot of people saying I'm tired of unboxings, but whatever. Let's cut over to the camera and let's see what's inside. All right, here we go. Let's speed this up just to let's satisfy some folks, because I mean almost all of this stuff comes exactly the same, but we'll speed it up a little bit, and I want to call out certain things to let you know about what is not in the box. So we got a card for some information if you wanted to get in touch with them and all this other stuff. Yay. We got our power cord and stuff like that. Remote. I'm just going to leave out the stuff that I'm going to be using. USB cable. And honestly, I already opened this up and I forgot to put everything back in the box like it normally would be. But it also comes with a RS-232 cable. It's around here. Oh, it was right here in front of me. We got the mounting screws and everything like that. RS-232 cable. And the actual camera. Now, I must admit, out of all the cameras I've been reviewing, this one actually looks different, and it doesn't have the same kind of clone shell that all the other ones have been. So significantly smaller than the other ones that we normally do. But let's check out the back. Have DC 12 volt power. We have COM port, which is actually, that was the cable I forgot. Oh. It actually has a breakout cable for your RS-232 in. And then here is another COM cable that you can have some leads if you wanted to connect to it. I'm not going to be using that. Put that back in the box. But anyway, we have our COM port, LAN port, SDI connection, HDMI, USB 3, and audio in. Now this camera does support POE. So let's go ahead and set up the basics. I actually have an extra joystick under the table here for an install. So on here it's properly labeled in and out. So let's go ahead and connect that to the in. Connect there. I have a connection for POE. I'm going to wait for that. I have a connection to my ATEM. So so that way you'll see what's going on. And I don't know, let's connect the USB as well to this computer that's right here in front of me, my normal streaming system. And maybe we'll connect it to OBS, vMix, something like that, so y'all can see it as well too. And normally I would connect to SDI, but I'm actually using the SDI connection under here for the web presenter, and I just mounted it up under my table, so I don't really want to pull that back down. All right, so now let's connect a POE connection here that's going to my Unify switch over here. Boom, there we go. We got power. Now, I am waiting to see, will this show up on my connection? And boom, yeah, so we got an image now. I will superimpose that right now. So let me move my stuff out of the way here. Need a little bit more room. Like I said, I have a traditional RS-232 serial joystick. This is a super long cable. Maybe just have it dangling over the table here. Connected here. Obviously it's lit up because we got power. All right, so while we're talking about this, I mean, it supports all the standard resolutions, but we'll go through so that way you can see all of them. There is no NDI function on this. There's no way, to my knowledge, last time I looked on the website, there's no way to upgrade this to have that type of function. So by default, this should be set up to input number 1, camera ID number 1, that is. So we should just be able to connect here. And there we go. Really straightforward there. Let's look on up. Now, it's relatively quiet. I mean, I heard that when I tilted it up, but again, I mean, it's not like anybody is going to be disrupting the service or anything like that if you had it. So let's cut back over here to my main screen. And let's go ahead and bring up the camera so y'all can see the quality of it. And then I will also superimpose myself over top of that while we talk about some of the aspects of it. All right, so there's the camera here, right there. Now, if I need to slide the joystick over a little bit so I can get to it. There's the studio camera there. And yeah, there's my ashy elbow. So you can see that. So, and if we look at our setup over here, that's where we got it set over here with our joystick. And that is coming from the studio camera 4K. So really cool. So like I said, if I reach over here and adjust this, you know, so I see all the movement and stuff like that. Really cool. So we are back now getting our image from here. So, you know, we can do some zooming in and out. This is a 20x camera as well too. So really straightforward. So now let's go ahead and get the remote here and let's check out our menu options. Do I have batteries in here? No, I don't. Let me add some batteries in this. All right, so I'm going to transition back to my Rode Wireless so I can turn around. So let's go ahead and you see my screen so I can see what's going on. Let me move that over here. So let's go ahead and look at the menu and see what's available there. Let's turn that off. All right, so we got exposure. All right, auto AE level, auto exposure level is not available. So we can come up here, set backlight has certain levels. FLC, I don't know what that is. Maybe we'll look through the menu. Manual. Color is set to auto white balance. So you can make adjustments to that. Picture, you can set the contrast. So if we came in here, let's see. Okay, that's bright. I like how vivid the colors are. I really like that. RTSP, a little lower than the other one. That's soft. Kind of adds a little bit of blurriness there. You can see the difference in the chair right here. Let me change that again so you can see. Adds kind of a blurriness to that. And standard. Honestly, I like RTSP. Let's keep it at that. Let me turn the camera here. Oop. Turn the camera here. And I had the menu on when I was trying to adjust this, and then that was messing up everything I was doing. So let's pull this back up and let's go back to the menu again. All right, so where do we leave off? All right, we're in picture. Yeah, we just did that. PTZ. This is where you can flip, change your directions. Autofocus mode is auto sensitivity. You know, you can play around with that. Preset speed, PTZ mode. Track. Don't know what that is. But interesting. We'll come back and play around with that. Noise reduction. Dynamic hot pixel. I somewhat notice it in the mesh here when I'm changing that. I don't know. All right, video out. This is where you can set the resolution. Like I said, I am at 1080p 60 right now. So yeah, I'm looking at the right camera. Digital audio out, you can turn that on and off. Okay. System setup, and obviously I am connected to the A2 Mini Extreme, so, and that's over HDMI, so that works. System, zoom label, Visca, again, like I said, by default, it was already address 1, so that's how the PTZ joystick, I can just connect it and it works. If you have multiple ones of these, be mindful, because you would need to change it, because if you have multiple one of these cameras, this or any other camera set at 0, set at 1 or the same ID, only one of them is going to respond. And it makes it difficult for you to adjust it. So that's why you always see me set up these cameras initially one at a time and set the code so that when I get back to wherever I'm installing it, I don't have to deal with that. All right, default setup. And that's it. Really nothing else to it. So let's cut back over here to the desktop here. And all of these have an interface. Let me switch back to this mic here. And all of these have a web interface. So we're going to go over to that. So let's find out what the IP address is first. And I love using Advanced IP Scanner as my tool of choice. I mean, I could just go directly to my Unify stuff, but I just don't want to, because everybody doesn't have this. This tool you can get for free, and you can scan it. Plus, you see this little arrow here that shows that if there's any other protocol that's running, web pages or whatever like that you can go to. So both my computer has one because it's going to there, and my Synologies have something, a web interface. That's what that shows under there. HTTP, Nginx server. And yeah, that's 25. That's what I thought it was. So we'll go to this. And here is the web interface. And let me shrink this so I am not blocking the way. All right, there we go. So the default password is admin. Username is admin. All right, and there we go. We're there in the interface. So let's check out config. This is where you can do the serial, the name, all this other stuff. Now, I'm out of all the, let me go back because I didn't even address this one thing. Now, when it comes to all of these cameras that I've seen, almost all of them seem like they're a clone of each other, and their interface looks the same, coloring is the same, everything. I will give, if BZB Gear is using a clone or just like a shell and they've slapped their name on it, I will give them credit because they've made just their interface stand out. Again, out of all these cameras I've reviewed, for the most part, the functionality is the same. The only thing that makes them stand out is the support. ADA imaging, PTZ optics, and now BZB Gear. AVCams has been more responsive as well. But again, when you come to these products, it's mainly the support that you have. And the fact that they took the time to recode this, to have their own branding, I give them bonus points for that. So, and as a coder, anybody can go do it, but everybody doesn't. All right, so we have our main preview. We can do the controls. We can go to the menu here if we need to from the interface. And that was the home position. I didn't mean to do that. Let's get back to where I was controlling this from here. We can change our zoom speed, PTZ speed, all this other stuff here. We can set presets, everything like you normally would do. All right, so let's go. Also, you have a full screen and audio if you were bringing that in, so you could hear that as well too. All right, let's go to config. Again, this is where all that stuff is. Time, you can link it to a time server here. And that's my time zone. This is where you can maintain it, do a reboot, do a basic reset, which I like, which will keep the IP address and username the same, but it'll wipe everything else out. So that way you can go back. Normally, if you do a factory reset, it resets it back to its default IP address, and then you got to jump through hoops to get back to that. So I appreciate the fact that they have a call out that lets you do these separately. Again, they've made this camera their own because the interface is completely different. You're not confusing this with any other camera. They also have their contact and email right there. And let me give you also a bonus for anybody else. Their support email is to the company, and it's not to a Gmail account. Makes it look a lot more professional. Let's go to network. This is where we can set the IP address. We get our MAC information. I have mine already set to auto IP. If it wasn't, we've talked plenty of times of how to get into this if you didn't have it. So that's really straightforward. Services, the IP, the port addresses for that. Most of these are standard. You really don't have to touch those and change that in any way, shape, or form. RTMP, hey, you can connect to that if you wanted to. I think I was trying to test this out and it just wasn't working for me. So on VIF. Now, this is a protocol that I've used with some of the IP controllers. Now, for whatever reason, this is one of the cons I would say with this. Out of the controllers that I've used before, I could not get my controller to detect this camera. Now, I'm going to give, and actually, let me not say that's a con, because I think the controller I had is the one that I showed you before that got messed up at Greater Works. And I think it got fried because of that electrical issue that we've been trying to fix over there. So I don't have another IP-based controller to test this out, but I am connected directly over RS-232. So I'm not going to, let me strike that. That's not a con. I just haven't had a way to test this because I don't have a remote to do this. So I'll leave it at that. But if you did make any modifications, you need to make sure it says right here, the RTSP, if you change that, you need to reboot the device for it to affect. All right, let's go to AV. This is where you can, again, I think there are dip switches on the bottom of the camera, which I did not show, but everything on the bottom is set to pull all of his adjustments from the menu. So all of this you could change if you need to. You can change the frame rate, all this other fun stuff. Yeah. So that's cool. All right, we'll go to image. This is where you can dial this in. Those same settings that we did in the menu, you can do from the web interface. That's for the display. The camera, you can adjust that, focus. All the menu items that we just showed is from the web interface too. All right, now you have users. I would have thought you would be able to add an additional user here, but it's only allowing you to modify. I could not find a way to add another user, but you would come in here and you could change the password if you wanted to, but it doesn't look like you can add anyone through this interface. Now, if there is any type of update on the firmware or something like that, I have not done that. So this is just, I got it right out of the box of the version that they gave. I have not tried to update it or anything. All right, PTZ, these are our settings that we can do right here for our PTZ. There's our addresses, the baud rate, protocol, all that other good stuff. Mount position, is it on the ceiling or a stand, which technically flips it upside down. So when you move the joystick, it compensates for that. All right. And then we have status, and it just gives us that. So really straightforward. Now, let me go back. And I know I was giving on VFF, I was saying it wasn't a con, but now I'm remembering why this was a con. So again, I give them credit for the fact that they've modified this web page. So it shows that you can do this. And again, I've designed websites, and my coding background, I know this can easily be done. But let me show you one of the issues I have with this. If you turned on, say, on VIF authentication and you do save, okay, you get to this saying start the jump. Okay, I hit OK. It throws to a link that is just crazy. Instead of it resolving back to the pulling back from the IP address of the camera, it's like that link is hard coded to jump to some gobbledygook. I don't know, somebody fat fingered the link or something like that. So that's just one thing you need to be aware of. And I would think that's something easy that can be done. It's just coded that way. Let's see if we can refresh and go back to my coding skills. I don't know why it wouldn't let me jump to that page again. If we go back here to config on VIF, and see, that's a JavaScript. Let's look at our page source. I want to see where that is. So this is what I like to do. This is how I used to do coding as well too, to help me find where something is. Just give myself a reference. Okay, that's not anywhere in here. And it might be it's a page to where we just can't see this. All right, so it's not there. Let's do the frame source. All right, so that window is there somewhere, and it's doing a JavaScript reference. So again, it's just a link that needs to be updated for that. I like the comments, but obviously I don't read that, so I don't know what that means. Yeah, so that, I mean, I would just think that needs to be updated because that link is jumping to somewhere that is throwing that off. So anyway, we got that part done. So really basic. And now the other thing I would say when I did the unboxing compared to some of the other ones, it does not come with a mount in any way, shape, or form. So you would need to buy your own mount separately. I think they provide their own specific mounts for this, or any universal one would work as well too. But just want to call that out, that if you got something like this, you would need to have your own buy a mount as well too. All right. So now what we're going to do is I have my other system over here that's connected. I want to actually, I think the cable's long enough. No, I want to do both at the same time because we're connected over HDMI here. I have this one also my other computer connected over USB. So we want to see what that looks like when it is connected. All right, so let's go jump over there and let's do that. All right, so we are now remoted into my streaming system, and I did say remote because I don't have it wired connected to my ATEM. But we're going to go ahead and just add the camera that's directly in. Now, we're already still connected to the ATEM through HDMI. We want to see it says it supports simultaneous output on all three outputs. So let's go over here to my capture device. We're going to change this from our web presenter. And actually, let's leave that. So we have the web presenter that's connected. We have the Blackmagic if it was connected over USB. And now we're just going to add another one, and we'll call this one the BZB Gear. And it just shows up as an HD cam. So there it goes. Really straightforward. If we were going to bring in audio, we could. Actually, it looks like the USB of that is not bringing in audio because I think it's disabled. Yes, I don't know. But there we go. Really straightforward from here. So you could have something like this and just go directly over USB or whatever to come into there. So that's really straightforward. Let me close this out and then we'll open this up in vMix, and it's pretty much the exact same thing. Now, because it's over USB, you could just use this directly and go to Zoom or anything like that if you wanted to, which is really cool. So let's come over here and we would just do add new, and we go to camera. There it is. Now audio says built in. So again, there's nothing that calls that out. And there we go. Really straightforward. Now, I don't think I have Zoom on this computer. Now, just honestly looking at it, now granted I am remoted in, I'm seeing a lot more artifacting than I normally would. I want to make sure that's just not me seeing it from being remoted in. So I'm gonna go directly to the source. Actually, I'm gonna have these superimposed on top of each other so you can see what these look like side by side. Again, it does give you the benefit that if you had something like this, you could add this and just connect it to your computer directly, because you wouldn't need a capture device. You can just use the USB out to go directly to it. So really cool. Now we're gonna test one other thing that I normally do with all of these devices, just to see how compatible it is. Now, PTZ Optics software does allow you to connect to other cameras, even the ones that are not PTZ Optics ones. So let's go back over to my desktop over here. And we have the software here. So let's go over here and set the IP address to 168.0.25, and we'll just call this one BZB Gear. This is just a name, so it's not a big deal. Okay. Let's put the screen on. Let's snap to it and click on it to connect. Connection refused, which is strange. Again, this is one of those ones that you would think you can connect to it, but this is similar to like the Famacos. I can't connect to those this way, or haven't figured out how to connect to it that way. So it must be using a different protocol. So that's why I'm thinking that I must not be able to connect or control this with an IP-based controller. So we can't do anything right here. So for me, that shows that they're doing their own thing, which is not a bad thing, which I really honestly think is a good thing. Let's go check out the other piece of software, their upgrade stuff, which sometimes can see the cameras as well too if they're on a similar chipset. and just to see, can we detect it? Do a search. And that is a no-go. So it looks like this one is using a completely different chipset than the other cameras that we've used. And like I said, that's not a bad thing. It just shows that, you know, this isn't a clone of any other type of camera. They're doing their own thing. And like I said, when you get to these points of all the cameras that we're reviewing, a lot of them provide the exact same functionality. What you're really looking at is what's your budget, and you're really paying for the support and the extended enhancements and everything that come with it. So again, you know, the SMT AV, as many as I've installed, I have not been able to get anything back from support with them. For Mako, thankfully, I haven't had to reach out to them, so I kind of won't give them a grade because I've never had to reach out to them. AVCans is very responsive, and what I've reached out to, PTZ Optics, is beyond responsive, as well as Ada Imaging. Now, both of those cameras are more expensive than the other ones, but again, you're paying for the support. So this camera, as I look at it right now on Amazon, this camera, this exact model, the 20X with POE, no NDI support, is going for $1,299. So again, could you get something less? Yeah, you could, but again, you're paying for the support to have a team behind it that supports it. So I leave that out there for you. I don't really have a sway on whichever way it works. Hey, we've installed pretty much of the lower end, lower cost PTZs. We've installed the higher end. Hey, I'm a company. Whatever product we decide to use, we use whatever. But again, I like to review all of them so that y'all can see, is there any benefit to the other ones compared? I leave that up to you. I just present the information to you. And yeah, so really liking the camera. I've actually used it on my last Zoom call. That's the camera I ended up transitioning to while I was recording that. Works really great. And after a little bit of time, this is going to be another product that's going to be a part of the Bless This House YouTube channel that we started, where we have a lot of this extra equipment that we review and we don't use. We're donating to another ministry to help them, you know, embrace technology. And a lot of ministries want to get involved with stuff, but they just don't have the equipment or the funding to do it. And I am thankful to be a part of at least one of a few people that I know to try and help other ministries with this equipment, because I don't have a place to store all this stuff. So anyway, thank you again, BZB Gear, for sending me out the product. Great product. Yeah. If you have any other questions, please leave them down below. If you have any other questions, hit me up at questions@ajhomes.com and give me 48 to 72 hours to respond back, and we will do what we can to get your questions answered. I want to thank the patrons and the YouTube members for making this video possible. Their names on the screen right now, and you too can become a patron for as little as $1 a month, or a YouTube member by clicking the join button down below. No matter which way you pick, folks, you are helping us train media ministries all over the world. So if you like this type of content, I appreciate a like, consider subscribing, and hit that bell. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. Thanks for watching, folks. This is AJ, and we will see you on the next video. Later.